the E.A.F.P podcast.
Sometimes maybe good, sometimes maybe.
We love him so much. He's a special person for all of us. He's so nice. He's so nice.
You can watch it live every week on Facebook under the Janko Navi and the Star 6 Media Facebook page. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the E.A.F.P podcast here on the Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch under the John Konavi Facebook page and also the Star 6 Media Facebook page too as well. You can follow those same pages too on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, TikTok, and all the other social media platforms, guys. We have a great show for you guys lined up today. The weekend frenzy of football, the greatest sport played around the world. Yeah, there's a lot to get to, from comebacks to separation and points in the table, and also preparing ourselves for this week coming up as Champions League returns for the second leg and also the round of 16s in the Europa League. We'll get into that and much more during the week. Shout out to Deontay for, adding, I put on my Facebook page, if you don't follow me, Eric Saulavila, whatever, add me as a friend, I guess, if you want. I don't care. So I put one like and I'll just make the podcast for today, and that's what I'm doing. Give me guys the updates from over the weekend. And yeah, so that's what I'm doing. Decided to do something today that I haven't done in a while. So you give me today, you give me Thursday just to get the recap of the Champions League game, which I'm gonna break down to you later on the show. First things first, make sure you guys follow us on all our social media platforms. Like I said, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Instagram, and TikTok under the Star 6 Media platform. So yeah, let's get into it today. This is what we're going to talk about. Where we're going to start off. Let's start off with La Liga, right? Let's do the La Liga recap for the week. Technically, like always, right? Well, not like always, but majority of the time, La Liga is only down to two teams, right? Real Madrid and Barcelona. And this past weekend is nothing different other than the gap between these two teams that really starting to have some separation now. It was Real Madrid has been giving out back-to-back black performances, I guess, last week from the semifinal first leg matchup against Barcelona at home, where they just kind of just looked flat, right? They didn't look like they were interested. They just seemed bleh. That still carried on over until yesterday too as well. They carry that same bleh momentum against a Real Betis team who has been pretty good so far this year. I think they're third in the league. They're third in the league in La Liga, and it's just one of those games where you still, even though they may be that high up in the table, Real Madrid still has a lot more to offer, and that was the thing, right? That's the thing that kind of is, I guess, upsetting a lot of people so far this year, and then I think for the first time all season that Carlo Ancelotti has finally got some criticism on him, because everybody was like, okay, look, Real Madrid has won almost anything and anything under the sun, right? And within the last, 3-4 seasons, right? Give or take. And it's one of those instances where you feel like Real Madrid has a lot more to offer. It has a lot more to give. And we haven't seen that so far this year. Now, granted, I've said it before and I say it again, I think this is Real Madrid, just like Liverpool, have been have been affected by not only just the World Cup being in the wintertime, just like everybody else, but also a victim of playing so many games throughout the whole entire season, right? They've been playing so many games, last year and the years prior and all that, playing from Copa del Rey finals, semifinals, to Champions League finals, to, whatever tournament you want to play in. And then obviously they still had the Club World Cup on top of that. All these games that they've been having for the last couple of years, it's been a lot. It's been a lot for this Real Madrid team, and I feel that's why they just look very lackadaisical in their games. Right? Again, their players are professionals; they have to turn up, right? And a lot of people are aiming at, they never found a true replacement for Casemiro, which I personally felt like yes, they haven't. They really haven't found that true um defensive center mid that can actually do almost a little bit of everything like Casemiro did. And yet here we are again, just another example of maybe it's just more than just Casemiro that this team needs, right? Again, like I said, if there was a year, right, where Barcelona can probably take off and probably win the league by a little bit, right? Given a year of what the transition of Real Madrid needs, because I think it's finally time that Real Madrid needs a little bit of transition. Since their middles are getting up there in age, Camavinga has done an okay job so far as of late coming in, but they still rely on a lot on Luka Modric, who's still playing exceptional. Don't get me wrong, he's been great, but excuse me. But again, yeah, Tony Kroos. It's just like these guys have been doing it so long, for so many years. It just sometimes you think about, even though their age shows differently, that you may think that they have an opportunity to like refresh a little bit. And I think this is what this team needs. They need a refresh. They need to rebuild. They need to see who they need to bring in. Losing Varane a couple years ago, losing now Casemiro this year, um, and yet you still produce good players like Valverde coming in, Vini always coming into his own. But I think Vini, I'm starting to not be on the Vinny bandwagon real quick, or I'm starting to hop off. I just don't see it in the game as much as yes, he shows flashes. I don't know, something about Vinny just doesn't. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. Maybe what you guys think. You guys have that follow Real Madrid to because I'll watch Real Madrid simply if they're on. I'll watch, but it's not like my heart is into it. I just only watch it just to see. Okay, maybe I see it with a more critical eye than anything, but I just don't see it. I don't see any. I just don't see this Real Madrid team being as dominant as years prior. And again, like I said, all these games that they have played, right? And I think Barcelona has taken advantage of that. And the game against Valencia over the weekend was proven, right? Was went down to 10 men. They got their goal early from Rafinha. It looked ugly once again. Like I feel like they've been playing this ugly matchups as of late. Matthew on the comments, hey, what's going on, Matt? What's going on? I hope everything is all right, man, with you and you're doing well. I got the link on here too as well, guys. If you guys want to join in, if you guys want to join in the conversation, you guys are more than welcome to click the link on here to join me. You guys don't have to show your face if you guys want to. Let's talk about ball. Let's talk about soccer, or whatever you guys have any questions for me too as well. You could drop it on here on the chat like Matt just did. Um, but where was I going with this? Oh yeah, but. But do you think Barcelona is taking advantage of a Real Madrid team who's been kind of crippling, who is on a downfall this year? You can see the legs are pretty heavy, especially with the tournament in between, the World Cup tournament and also the Club World Cup on top of that. So Barcelona being 9 points clear of Real Madrid, as you can see right there on the ticket on the bottom, it just doesn't seem it just doesn't seem like a proper title race in La Liga. And sometimes you get that from time to time from La Liga too as well. Like one team, like Real Madrid, could probably run it off, run away with it. And there's occasional where Atletico Madrid may make some noise. Barcelona so far this year, but I think we're getting to the point this year where you know they're just in the Copa del Rey. I know it's only a 9 point gap. 9 points seems like a lot, and it is a lot for Real Madrid to turn around. But if there's a team that can do so, it is Real Madrid now, and they're in the Champions League, right? We'll get into that a little later on in the week. But even on top of that, I feel like this team shouldn't just be able to turn it on and turn it off whenever they want to. You're Real Madrid. You got to turn it on every single time, every moment you can, and not let this happen. Be 9 points clear from your bitter rivals. And a lot of people can say, okay, Barcelona can have one because they're not in the Europa League. They got eliminated by Manchester United. They dropped out of the Champions League coming in third. They're just only in the Copa del Rey and La Liga. And if it's just the Champions League that is what's only on Real Madrid's mind, then they got a good shot. But the way how I've been seeing them for the last couple of weeks, even especially after the 5-2 drubbing of Liverpool at Anfield a couple weeks back, it's just hard for me to try to get on, like, if Real Madrid could repeat what they did last year, going down to PSG and winning, going down, I think it was to Man City and winning, going down to um who else were they down against? I think it was Chelsea that they played last year too as well, going down against them in the knockout round and coming back and winning, right? like 3 games that they played in the qualifying rounds to get to the final to the Champions League before facing Liverpool in the final and winning. They had to come back 3 separate times in 3 separate different occasions in different types of games and environment. And now you're putting them in another final. And then this year has been such a crazy year that maybe these legs are going to run out for Real Madrid sooner rather than later. And you could see in the run of form that they have in La Liga, this should just have been a Real Madrid that you do not love, or this is a Real Madrid team that you don't often see time in and time out, and it's just weird for them being this far away from Barcelona. And I get it, like what they got 11, 12, 13 more games left to play, plus they're in Champions League, so there's still more time. And if Barcelona can choke this away, which kind of seems like they probably might throw a game or two away, and if Real Madrid capitalizes on that, you could see them coming back into this title race. But again, it's going to be another way and another reason for Real Madrid to go on 100 every single week, coming back and winning, and even coming to even clinch for this title for La Liga. If they're minding sets on Champions League, great. They got a 3-goal comfort lead against Liverpool that they play next week, and we'll see what else happens after this. E.A.F.P podcast here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch under the on the Junko Navi Facebook page, and also the Star Six Media page. As I'm recapping over the Liga, what happened over the weekend. As you can see, two teams in this race. It's a 9-point gap. I think any more points drop or any more games drop from Real Madrid, this gap might be a little bit bigger. And now you're just patiently waiting um, for Barcelona to claim titles. But there's one more Clásico coming up. I think it's coming up next weekend for in La Liga before the Copa del Rey semifinal, the second leg. So there's time. There's time to catch up, and maybe that's where the gap comes in, because Barcelona can and probably will drop another game to make this a little bit quite interesting. But it all depends how they play out in that Super Clásico reverse matchup against Barcelona and Real Madrid. Let's go ahead on to the Premier League, and let's start off with yesterday. You don't see this at all. You don't see this at all. You hardly even see it, and you rarely see it when it's against these two teams. Hell, even these two teams you can hardly see it, right? But a 7-0 drubbing Liverpool against Manchester United, and I think in a game, if you're talking about whoever comes in the best form around this time, you would give it to Manchester United, right? Being at Anfield, coming in, playing well, winning the Carabao Cup a week ago, or during the week, or like whatever it is. But winning the Carabao Cup, coming back and winning, having the Europa League, playing well in the Europa League against Barcelona, knocking them off, advancing to the next round, FA Cup, all this around, right? They have been playing pretty decent football for the last couple of weeks. For this to happen against this Liverpool team, who is just like Real Madrid, right? Except, in the Premier League is a little bit more difficult. For them to lose in this fashion just sends off a lot of alarming bells to Manchester United, because I always thought, yes, they're on a good run, yes, they're in good form, but for some reason, I just thought Manchester United just doesn't or didn't have enough to even compete for either for the title race and all the other competition. I feel like sometimes, to me, I feel like they're too one-dimensional at most times. You feel it's Marcus Rashford and then what, And yes, it has happened. They had some ties. They had some luck. Obviously, against Newcastle last week in the Carabao Cup, it was more than just Marcus Rashford. But you could tell yesterday's game, Liverpool did an amazing job into isolating that man and get him away from the game and let anybody else in that Manchester United squad to beat them. And it was just oof, it was just a demolition of a team that wasn't even playing that well. Like, again, the same reason I'm giving to Real Madrid on why they have been looking bad so far for this year is the same reason I'm giving to Liverpool. Yes, you have only won one league title in the last 4 or 5 seasons. Yes, you have excuse me. Yes, you have reached to 3 Champions League finals and winning one within the last 4 or 5 seasons. Yes, I think you've won an FA Cup. You've been in a Carabao Cup final. Last year, you played the maximum amount of games you can play in a whole entire season, reaching all the finals. and obviously your league games, right? You had a chance for a rare quadruple in your season last year. And this year you've been starting off sluggish. Again, just like everybody, you got interrupted by the World Cup. I get that. But again, the same reason, excuse I've given Real Madrid, I also have to give to Liverpool because year in, year out, they're competing for the league title. They're competing in Champions League. They're in Champions League finals. They're in FA Cups and Carabao Cup finals. And they've been playing so many games chasing Manchester City. Now that's already a job in itself, and trying to do so that you're doing the chasing because you're giving out maximum effort. But yesterday, it felt like they turned back the clock and just literally ripped a new one to Manchester United because after the first goal before the halftime, okay, Gakpo got his goal, great. All right, maybe just maybe, Manchester United, because of the form that they've been in, they might come back to this game. The way that they started off the second half, so sluggish, so poor, passing was horrible. You name anything that you can name under the sun of how uh of how Manchester United started the second half. It was just it was just bad, and it was delivered, and rightfully so. Liverpool took advantage of it and just rolled with it. But to score, it wasn't that they were down three nothing. Probably 10 minutes into the second half. It wasn't even that they were down 4-0. It was the fact that it went to 5, 6, and 7. That to me was literally kicking your opponent down to the ground and still continuing to beat them up, because it was maybe an experience that Manchester United needed to feel because everybody thought they were on cloud nine after winning the Carabao Cup. I don't know what the case may be or whatever it was. But Liverpool showed that if there's a team, like I said about Real Madrid, to make a comeback in this instance for top four for Champions League play, Newcastle's on the fall. Tottenham's being Tottenham. Manchester United playing all these amount of games. And if there's a team that makes a run of winning 7, 8, 9 games in a row, and all these other teams ahead of them are faulting, Liverpool can make that run to the Champions League top four. And I'm only saying that because it's happened. This team has done it before. Even though they're having problems in the midfield because everybody's already getting old. Fabinho looks old, but I think he's not even 30, if I'm not mistaken. And maybe he is. But Henderson's up in his mid 30s. James Miller's always in his 30s. Fabinho looks like he's in his 30s, right? Oxlade-Chamberlain is always hurt. They're using Harvey Elliott a lot in the midfield. But what you saw yesterday was the Liverpool of the Liverpool that we've been seeing for the last years, in pressuring and pressing and getting on the ball after a sloppy touch from Manchester United from their passes, and just attacking the defenders the way they're supposed to. And it was good to see that Liverpool can play like that, and it's scary to see Liverpool play like that with Darwin Nunez scoring and not missing, with Mo Salah becoming Liverpool's all-time leading scorer and scoring goals with his left, right, and head thigh, with Cody Gakpo, being in the mix too as well, and Bobby Firmino, who's going to leave at the end of the season, still having his scoring boots on for the team, because Bobby Firmino to me screams Liverpool. All that come into one game, and not only just one game. This game, just this game alone, to score 7 has just been it's been crazy, and it probably like deflated the hopes, the small title hopes that Manchester United has on this title on the league to win the quadruple. I think Liverpool yesterday just deflated that for them, and it was. There's few teams that, that I talk smack about, right? There's only a handful of teams that I talk real smack about. And as professional as I try to keep it, Manchester United is one of those, but it was so good seeing that drubbing, though. It felt so great seeing Liverpool putting a 7-piece, putting up a touchdown, putting up whatever you want to put, whatever analogy you want to put up, Liverpool on Manchester United. So give them credit to that. But it was just a True in there says, "Yeah, Arsenal's ass." It's kind of hard to hear you down there on the table with your West Ham, which Chewy, your West Ham, bro. They got problems. Your Hammers have problems. 4-0 to Brighton over the weekend, bro. Ooh, yeah. trouble. You could probably see the bottom of regulation first, man. I don't know. It's gonna be hard. He said we'll survive though. Yeah, hopefully. I mean, you have to. If not, then you have no choice but to sell Declan Rice to whoever wants to bid 100 and some odd quid for him. You know what I mean? So it's tough, but yeah. Seeing Liverpool yesterday pulling up a 7-piece on Manchester United, it was just great. Thoughts on Leeds USA? Oh, with McKinney, who is it? McKinney, Harrison, and Adams on there. You know what? I find it weird. And my cousin Sebastian up here, what's going on, man? I know we're past this, right? On Leeds and Leeds, they're barely surviving, head above water in the regulation bout and whatnot. But the fact that Jesse Marsh got his players and then a week later gets fired from Leeds is just it's a sign it's a sign for like disaster to show up, right? Because now you're getting new methods from somebody who wasn't even in their plans, and Jesse Marsh had his whole thing, and it was just it's weird. It was weird. I hope they don't get regulated, but they're there. I think Everton just feels like this is gonna be their year that they're gonna be. This is the year. Last year they got lucky. Lampard, whatever he came in, he helped Everton come out of the bottom and still survive. But this year, Calvin Lewin always hurt. They don't have that midfield presence. They barely score goals on top of that, even though they had a 2-2 draw against Nottingham Forest, who, just because their start, it's not they started off bad, but kind of kept themselves alive middle of the season. Um, it it just felt it just feels like Everton time is up, and they might be that team that gets regulated at the end of the season. I hope I'm wrong, because I think Everton brings in the Premier League history. Like they bring that historical aspect to it, and we won't see Liverpool Everton twice a year in the Merseyside derby. But I just feel like it's time. It's time. It's Leeds will be lucky this year, but next year, if they don't make some good moves, some decent moves, and actually get, you know, some decent defense. Definitely a center back and a left back too as well. Um, I think Leeds will probably be one of the leading candidates to be regulated next year. Jesus Tree says Villa, Southampton, Fulham, and Newcastle. So I see is eighth, fifth, third, and second to last against West Ham in the next couple of weeks. So, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. But again, it's good to be hopeful, Trey. I know how you feel. That was me. That's me being an Arsenal fan for the last couple of years of being hopeful of even making it to Europe, and in your case, staying above and being in the Premier Leagues next year. Um, let's get going. What else do I have on here? Oh yeah, Man City beat Newcastle, who 2-0 on Saturday. That one was a tough, a very hard matchup to go up to see. And it was only hard because it was physical. And it was two teams. Obviously, you see Man City trying to make the run at the Premier League title, which they're still in their hand. It's still in their grasp, right? Some still. Um, Also, a team that needs to play well, because I feel like we have seen the Man City. That's been also the same roller coaster ride, up and down, right? They played a great defensive performance against Newcastle on Saturday. Phil Foden with a great goal on the first one, and then Silva putting in the second one in the second half. Um, I think this was the type of the performance that we needed a Man City to see, especially away at St. James's Park, where they have Champions League this week. We'll get into it a little bit. And they needed a performance like this, knowing that they can play defensively solid, and then going up forward, they can still do whatever they needed to do. So they put the pressure on Arsenal, them being the first game at 6:30 in the morning. They put the pressure on Arsenal to try to get a result against Bournemouth, yeah, but outside of that, I think they're looking at the bigger picture, knowing that the league is still in their grasp, and knowing what Arsenal may or may not do if they could capitulate towards the tail end of the season. I hope not. But Man City has to do their job, and if their job is Champions League, they need to put performances like this in the league to carry on over, because obviously it only gets difficult from here, and especially this game this week. You've seen them struggle. We've seen City struggle from time to time throughout the years. Throughout this season, and hopefully they could carry on this performance into midweek. Um, like Sebastian said, Leeds USA they they lost this week against Chelsea. Chelsea finally scored, y'all. They finally scored a goal. They finally scored one goal this week, and the only goal in this game too. Fofana with a header, I think, off a corner kick. That was the only goal, and they finally got 3 points, and they finally got a win under Graham Potter that has been aching for a while. But still, Chelsea still needs a lot of work, and I think this is a stage where if they get a result, they need to find results quickly because Champions League doesn't look very bright in their future for this upcoming season. Maybe Europa League and the worst case scenario Conference League. Um, because I don't think they have the team. They don't have the scoring prowess to, go into a Champions League and probably contend for a Champions League title. Um, Chelsea's been bad ever since Pulisic got hurt. He's back now. Even then, so that's still another winger. That's not really a striker that they need and they miss and they don't have, right? Joao Felix, he could play the center forward role. Okay, great, that's fine, but he's not really an out-and-out goal scorer. You could put Fofana, one of the Fofanas that they got over, I think the winter break this year or the winter transfer window. Um, Mudrik, who was linked to Arsenal, he hasn't really shown anything this year in so far with Chelsea. So far in 7 games. Who else am I missing? Sterling on that squad still hasn't really. He's a winger, not really another striker presence in there. So yeah, I mean, the only reason why they're lacking goals, and you've seen like these 2-0s, 1-0, defensively they're okay, and Thiago Silva is a big loss for them. For the season or for the next couple of weeks, that's a big loss. It's a big loss for him, especially how pivotal he was in that center back role in the defense for them. So it's going to be tough, and it's going to be tough for Chelsea to even. Obviously, they played against Leeds, and you could see just even by the talent that they have in the squad and everything else to it, Chelsea was overwhelmingly favorites and could have scored, but for them to score just straight off a set piece and not the run of play, it's still a problem for Chelsea to even make an impact in any of either the league or the Champions League. Are they even in the FA Cup? I don't even know. I'll check up on that for the next episode. Um, it's going to be difficult for them to even make this an impact. And even though Christian Pulisic can and has played for the United States up top, it's still not enough to even compete for the Champions League or even try to even compete for the top four, because that top four, if Liverpool gets on this run, this top four is going to be tight. It's going to be tight, and I think this one, Chelsea needs to. If they pull off nothing but 1-0 victories, then give it to them. If they could do it for 4 or 5 6 straight, 4 or 5 6 games straight, then all part to them. Those are 3 points that you're building and racking and stacking. In this league where you may or may not give a chance or have a hint of Champions League for next year, because that's the only way they'll qualify if they crack the top four. Moving on, obviously I did Chelsea. I mean Manchester, Liverpool, Spursies being Spursies. Because of them, my morning soccer parlays was all messed up. I had City on the line, Arsenal on the line. I had Chelsea on the line. Right, that's how confident I am with Chelsea. Right, but it was Leeds. I had Bayern Munich on the line. Ooh, who else I had? I don't remember. I don't remember, but it was like a 9-leg parlay that I got, and these guys screwed it over. I thought, it's Wolves. I think they could do it. They need a good game for this upcoming week coming up against AC Milan at home. They need to put up another performance. Another snooze fest, and because of them, I lost my parlay. But Spurs is being Spurs. This is what I can say. With all that talent, attacking talent that they have, they still find ways to struggle to score goals or to even make an impact up front. And it was a Spursy likes performance where it's so boring side to side. It's such a Conte game, such a Conte ball. Side to side, just drop back almost close to the 18-yard line of their own box and try to see what they can on top. And then yes, there's instances, especially when you have Harry Kane and Human Song and Klevetsky on your attacking forwards, it's still not enough to that you're playing basically from your back line going up forward, and you're just relying on the speed. And it's a good attack to have, yes, but you still need the extra support coming up from the mid, and it just lacked in a game like that. Spursy's being Spursy's, and I can't see them even with Kane and even with Son and Kulovetsky and Richarlison, who still hasn't even scored a goal for Tottenham. Even with them being there, it's still not enough for what Tottenham can provide for this team going forward. It's just maybe they just need the season to be over with and just start from scratch. And maybe you let Harry Kane go and get whatever you can. Maybe you get whatever you can for Human Song, and then you just start your attack with Kulovetsky on one side and Richarlison on top. And there's nothing wrong with that. But even I don't think Harry Kane would want to leave. Honestly, I think he enjoys where he wants to be, and I think he really wants to win a trophy. Since they haven't won a trophy in I don't know, God long, I don't know, in the mid '90s. I think I know it's probably a little more sooner than that, but I'm just poking fun at it. But it just he just wants to win at this point. Carabao Cup, FA Cup, Premier League, you probably won't even. Definitely not Champions League, but any of the other domestic cups, I think that's what Harry Kane wants, just to win a title for Spurs or win a trophy for Spurs. Because damn it, man, I'm tired of losing my parlays because these bastards can't even win a game, man. And there's been so many times where I feel confident in time, and I shouldn't have, right? And I should know it's Spurs was Spurs. But man, it's just they're just wasting their talent. Harry Kane's just wasting his talent. I think he already wasted his talent. He's still young enough to probably still go to another team, make an impact, win a trophy, do this and do that. But I think that's what they might do. And I feel like this summer, if they don't qualify for this Champions League spot for this top four, I think they got to make some wholesale changes because this is. I mean, I don't care, but for those players like Heung-min Song and Harry Kane, especially Harry Kane, needs to go out and knows what winning a title feels like. And trust me, he goes on that market, teams will go crazy. I don't know about the Premier League, but teams, around maybe Bayern Munich may come calling. Maybe I don't know, Chelsea may come calling if he wants to stay in London. They need a striker, right? There's going to be plenty of suitors out there for Harry Kane, or maybe somebody will go back to the original 4-4-2 with two strikers and maybe have Harry Kane and I don't know Robert Lewandowski. I'm just talking smack here. I'm not saying Barcelona this style, but I'm just saying 4-4-2, those two, whatever you want to whatever the case may be. But it'll be a sight to see. E.A.F.P podcast here on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Guys, make sure you follow the John Konavi Facebook page and also the Star Six Media social media platforms, should I say, on YouTube, on Twitter, on Twitch, on Instagram, and on TikTok. And let me tell you guys, my blood was on 100 on Saturday. 100 on Saturday. When I tell you that this game had me going, oof, started like 9 seconds. They get the first goal scored, right? 9 seconds, 9 seconds, 9 freaking seconds, and I'm just like, Sebastian says Fulham has been good. Yes, Fulham has been a very nice story, a very good story for sure. In this season so far, they've been a surprising team so far. With Mitrovic scoring all on top, and just them playing defensively solid in the back. And Arsenal had faced them twice, and then both games were pretty tough. But that's how they played everybody, and they get those scrappy results. So yeah, credit to them. But yeah, Arsenal 3-2. And last kick of the game, 90 whatever, 96:59 or whatever the time was, and when Reece Nelson scored. Ooh, man, this game, I swear, took probably like a year or two off my life. But it's a good sign. It's to me, it's a great sign because it's not the first time, nor the second, nor the third that Arsenal had to come back in the defeat or being down in the game and coming back and getting a result, getting the win. Um, and this one just hit a little bit different simply because they were down 2-0 in the second half. Party messing up on the corner kick for the goal, redeeming himself, scoring the first one. Ben White, Arteta making the subs, taking out Tomiyasu, putting in Ben White. Trussard goes down hurt, puts in Emmy Smith Rowe. You could tell he's not 100%. He got some minutes into it. Yeah, it's good to see Emmy, but even then, so it still wasn't enough. And him taking him out, which I was saying, like Reese Nelson's coming in, like who could it be? Like it can't be Martinelli. Certainly can't be. Um, it certainly can't be Martinelli. It certainly couldn't be Saka. I was like Vieira, but nah, that's too central for him. When he took out Emmy Smith Rowe, who he subbed in for Trossard, I was like, huh, interesting. Right away made an impact. Cross in, Ben White scores, and then he scores the absolute banger in 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 uh in the stoppage time to end the game basically at the last kick. And mentality monsters, man. This is something that Arsenal never had years before, a backbone. So the mental part of it. You see Arsenal could just capitulate, whether if it was losing to Leicester in the title in 2016, whether if it was losing coming out of the top four, even last year, 2 years ago, coming crashing out of the Champions League when it was in their hands and going to the Europa League. Like it was just those type of those that mentality, and bringing in Zinchenko, bringing in Gabriel Jesus, even Jorginho in the winter transfer, Trussard, four key players in this calendar year or this season, bringing in and helping this team coming out and being successful and winning these type of games just brings a magical season. Not a magical season, I can't say magical, but so far has been a very how should I put this? A very what's the word I'm trying to look for? Everybody here, help me out here in the chat. But bringing these guys in, this Arsenal was just not what we were expecting. I think we were just expecting. I was expecting, right? I didn't care the position whether you got in the Premier League. I just wanted them to win the Europa League. I just wanted them to win something. To me, winning something like FA Cup and Europa. I think those were the two cups that I wanted them to win. Them being in this position, I didn't see it. You could tell me this a couple months back and be like, "Hey, do you think that Arsenal can or will or anything would like be anywhere near the top of the table of the Premier League this season?" I'm like, "Hell no, I don't see it. I can't see it." Because they haven't proven anything within the last couple of years. For them being 5 points clear, five points clear of Man City, and they still have to face against them at the end, in about a couple weeks at the Etihad, which is another key game because if you put that one to bed, either you win or you tie that game. I think now you're in complete control of the league title. But it just, I don't, I think I'm probably one of the few Arsenal fans out there that is hesitant to say that Arsenal is going to win the league. And it's not just because I'm skeptical or I'm superstitious or anything like that. It's not that. It's just if it was any other team, hell, it could have been Chelsea, it could be Tottenham, it could be Man U, it could be. I may be a little bit worried if it was even Liverpool. If it was anybody else other than Liverpool or Man City, I wouldn't be that worried. And I'm saying this because those are the teams that have been there and done that. And that's what's kind of like, okay, I did say give me after February, we'll see where we're at, at the end of the winter transfer window in the end of February, because those were the kind of the 2 months in the last couple of years where Arsenal kind of like falters and falls down and capitulates and Arsenal becomes Arsenal, right? Still top of the league. It's 5 points. And I'm still saying what I'm saying now. It's because it's just I, I'm taking it game by game, week by week basis. And now that Europa League is back, and now they're competing on Thursday nights now, and they have a very interesting matchup against Sporting this Thursday, for this round of this fixture. To me, I think I just I'm saying give me until after Manchester City, and then I'll give you how you really feel, because this has been a crazy season, a very unexpected season for my Gunners for sure. And speaking of Champions League and speaking of Manchester City, this week we have Champions League coming up, and yeah, we're gonna go across the Champions League. That's gonna start tomorrow. The first two games for tomorrow, or the two games that are gonna be on tomorrow, it's going to be these two teams, Bayern versus PSG, and I think this is going to be an interesting matchup simply because no Neymar for PSG. He's done for the season. Kylian Mbappe being the all-time leading scorer for PSG, and then we've seen Kylian Mbappe show up time and time again for PSG and coming up in big moments, right? And now this is going to be an interesting matchup for PSG because now they're going to Germany, being 1-0 down. Can they pull it off? I can say no. I will. mm, See, Bayern Munich. Something about Bayern Munich always tells me like they always find ways to crash out of the Champions League unexpectedly, right? But if they do lose to PSG, though, if PSG comes back tomorrow and wins, right, and eliminates them, I truly don't feel like they got out of this tournament unexpectedly. I think that they lost to a team that's deservedly so trying to be there and trying to make it to the final. They're just trying to do the Man City way and make it to the Champions League final. That's what they're all trying to do. And when you have Messi and Mbappe, no more Neymar, but when you have those two winners, Mbappe who's a World Cup winner, and Messi who's now a World Cup winner, and you have players around there, um, to do so. I feel like it wouldn't be surprising if PSG pulls it off, right? But with Marquinhos being hurt, Donnarumma not being that great, they have defensive problems in the back. Hakimi may or may not play. It's going to be tough, and especially now you're going on the road in Germany. Yeah, no, I want to say PSG because the gambling purposes, and you get more money off of it. But I think this one's going to be a tie, and then Bayern Munich goes on with the tie because obviously them winning 1-0 in Paris. On the next game tomorrow as well, AC Milan versus Tottenham. I think this is going to be a difficult matchup for Tottenham because so far they haven't been playing very well. They didn't play very well when they went out to Italy. They haven't been playing well. They got eliminated in the FA Cup after that, and especially the game over the weekend against Wolves. This is probably the most vulnerable that Tottenham is going into a matchup at home. And AC Milan has been on all cylinders, firing on all cylinders. Even though they did lose to Fiorentina over the weekend, but it's still AC Milan team that's still near the top. Uh, Not near the top. I think La Serie A is almost over with Napoli being like what 15, 16, 17 points clear of Inter Milan or something like that. But AC Milan team who's there, who's fighting, who's scrapping to get into the top four for in the Serie A too as well. I think they're tied. Yep, I'm right here. So they're tied in points with Roma with 47 for the last spot for the fourth spot. Right, 1 point behind. Um, yeah, 1 point, 2 points behind Lazio, 1 point behind Lazio, and 3 points behind Inter. But nobody's gonna catch Napoli, who's gonna be my dark horse to win the Champions League. Um, this is going to be a matchup to where what Tottenham team are we expecting tomorrow? Are we expecting a Tottenham team to come back and win? I mean, come back and be the Tottenham that has the firepower, offensive firepower, or are we going to see the Tottenham team that we've been seeing for the last couple of weeks and just lackadaisical and no type of pressure, momentum, or anything going on top? So, I think it's going to be a tie between Bayern and PSG. I think AC Milan can pull this off. I think so. I think they can. I think they will. So those are my two. So I got Bayern and AC Milan advancing to the next round. Porto Inter on Wednesday. Going back to Portugal. I like how Inter has so far. Like I said, they were second. They're second in the Serie A, miles away from first place. But it's an Inter Milan who's starting to find their groove, and it's a team where you can say confidently that they could go to Portugal and get a result. And I think that's what they're going to do. They're going to go to Portugal. They're going to get a result. I think it's going to be a 2-1. I feel a 2-1 win from AC for Inter Milan here. So give me Inter Milan and the game on Wednesday. Obviously, it's going to be wrong button. Sorry. Game on Wednesday. Obviously, you see it right here. Manchester City versus Leipzig. If we get the same Manchester City performance on Sunday tomorrow, I'm sorry, not Sunday, Saturday, tomorrow. I think you definitely easily see Man City coming out of here and probably a comfortable one. I could see, I could. This is a game where you can definitely see Manchester City scoring like 2, 3 goals and win comfortably at the end of the day. But that's just me. I think I can see it. I can see like a 3-1, 3. Yeah, well, Leipzig. Ooh, hold on. Let me retrace because it's the same Leipzig team that took Real Madrid into this group. all the way to the very end. They fought every game against Real Madrid in that group. I don't want to count them out. But I can see this game being comfortable for Man City though. Like I don't know. Maybe coming up to pregame, I'll probably get a better feel for this. But right now, I see Man City advancing. So I got the teams that are advancing: AC Milan, Bayern, Inter, Bayern, AC. Both Milan teams, Bayern and Manchester City. Damn, I said I was going to take the show for half an hour. I already got 45 minutes into this. It's almost about to be 7 o'clock. Jeez. Well, let me just finish it then. All right, cool. If you, I hardly gamble on Champions League simply because I don't have time for work. But if I were to give me AC Milan, Inter Milan, the money line. Give me 2.5. Give me over 1.5 goals for the Man City game versus Leipzig, and give me the draw. And give me the same thing. Give me 1.5 goals for both games, over 1.5 goals for both games for PSG and Bayern, and give me the money line on both Milan teams. I think that's your gambling advice. I don't know how much it is. I normally have it up, but if you want some soccer advice, I think our soccer gambling tips, those are the ones. I went 3-1 this past weekend, and then obviously my separate one, damn Tottenham. So, excuse me. That's my picks for this week in the Champions League. I will be back Thursday to recap the Champions League and also the Europa League 2 on the first legs of the round in 16. Thank you to Chuy. Thank you to Sebastian for hopping on here. Matt, thanks you for chiming in too as well. I will be back same time, same place, 6 o'clock on Thursday. Well, yeah, 6 o'clock Thursday, same place here on the E.A.F.P podcast. Brought to you by the Star 6 Media social media platform. Make sure you guys follow us on all our social media platforms: Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Also, Instagram and TikTok. Make sure you guys hit the little bell next to the Star 6 Media page every time we go live, just to get notified when our shows are going to be live. Not just my soccer show, but also the John Conavi Sports Podcast, Only Football, 3 Up, 3 Down, Slot Shot, and all the other podcasts under the Star 6 Media platform too as well. I will be back on Thursday. I will see you guys then. Good luck gambling this week in the Champions League. Hope you guys win. See you on Thursday, guys.
What a finish! Wow.
On one. I'll see you guys then.
Scrooge smile with the quality of his goal.
See you later.
Oh.
Yes. Yes. He's intolerable.